What are the non-physical skills, techniques that a pro golfer needs to make it? Not just mental skills on the course, but in your routine, logistics, how you think about your schedule. My name's Mark, and I fucking love golf. And on a recent episode of the FLG Golf Podcast, I had David Buck on as a guest. And David has played on many pro tours. How many tours exactly? Well, which tours in the US were you playing on?
Everything short of the PGA is basically what I would say.
And they're known now by different names than they were how many
Sure.
years ago?
Back in the day, it was Buy.com, it was Pepsi Tours, Canadian Tour, it was Tight Lies Tour, Moonlight Tour, Teardrop Tour, the New England Pro Tour, the Iowa Summer Series, anything and everything that I could get in.
Now, obviously, the PGA Tour was not one of the tours that David mentioned that he has played on, which means that obviously he failed. But we can often learn more from the failure of someone than their success. And that's exactly what I wanted to explore with David. Stay to the end, because if you're an aspiring pro, there's a logistical skill that is neither mental nor physical. But first, we have to understand the finances, or the financial pressure, I guess, call it, of a mini tour golfer, to understand that the stress and the pressure that they're under, to kind of lay the framework for what David explains.
To give you a little bit of math, mini tours, smaller events, payouts, the top 30% get paid. Okay, so the top 30% get a check. The top 20% have their bills paid for that week. The top 10% make money. And essentially it works like this. If at any point in there you make a big mistake, you just don't get paid. People say, is it that must be a stressful lifestyle. And what's interesting is it's not. It's absolutely not. But only because it's continual stress. So there's no vision of no stress. And so life is just stressful and you don't notice it. And that's probably the thing that broke it for me at 19 to 22 years old. I just didn't have the maturity to be able to see those things. And it came out at some really bad times.
So what David is saying here is that on the mini tours, the payouts are so small overall that you just don't get paid if you don't play well, even if you make the cut. Whereas on the PGA Tour, payouts are still pretty excellent, even if you make the cut and are in the bottom 70% of the field. The high likelihood that you don't get paid adds pressure. Here's what I asked. What advice would you give yourself or someone like you when you were starting out that would have made a huge difference for you if you could have known at the time?
The great news, Mark, is that I've had so many years to reflect on it. I actually do have these skills now.
Now you have them.
Yeah. It's just a little bit late.
Yeah.
And it's number one, control of your emotions. Emotion and truth are not the same things. And this is true of life and this is true of golf. But we look at a mature person in any avenue of life. And the thing that qualifies that person as a mature person is somebody who is able to control their emotions, no matter if it's great things happening or if it's terrible things happening. So, you look at somebody, okay, building on fire. What do? You're not standing there going, building's on fire. You're saying, okay, is there a way in? Is there any screaming? Can I hear anything? There's a dog in there. There's a dog near the window. I can get in that window. And they run towards the window and make a calculated choice of, I can get that dog. That's the ability to keep thinking when pressure is heavy, when any kind of emotion is heavy. And the ability to just stay even, no matter the scenario, is the most valuable and probably under-practiced skill in golf.
All right, so emotional control. I think this makes sense to a lot of golfers. Golf is not a try harder sport. It's not a sport that we can play better necessarily when emotions are high. It's not a fast reaction or a fast twitch sport. It's a control sport. So aside from the mentality on the course, I also wanted to know his advice off the course. But to set the stage for David's logistical advice, we first have to understand the typical weekly routine of a pro golfer, which he explained as this.
And now your week looks like this. You go on Sunday night or Monday morning, you go to wherever the new place is. Monday afternoon, you go out to the course, and this is before like rangefinders were really a thing.
Yeah.
You go walk the course, you make your own yardage book, you figure out what kind of grass it is, how it plays, whatever. Tuesday, you go play a practice round, chip, putt, play around the greens. Wednesday, same thing. Sometimes they would have a pro-am on a Tuesday or Wednesday, in which case you'd play in the pro-am, because if you played in the pro-am, you get $200 or $300, which would pay for your hotel. So you
Okay.
absolutely did that. And then you kind of used it as
Your practice round.
your practice round. So you chip and putt around and whatever. You start playing on Thursday, Friday, hope to make the cut. And if you do, then you got Saturday, Sunday. And so it becomes a patience game. And so that patience and grind, it's not like you can get better during those times. You're just trying to figure out how to play well in this course today in this place. And so if I was to do it all over again, I would have built in a period of, let's call it 2 months, to go and stay in one spot to work on the things that I was weak on. So to improve, because in 2 months you can do a lot if that's all you're working on. But if you're mixing in tournament play in there, and you have to be ready for this, you can't make changes, you can't make adjustments.
So that's his advice over the course of a whole season. Set aside time outside of tournaments to improve yourself. And we've seen this anecdotally a lot. Famous stories about Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy essentially disappearing for weeks or months to become the next best version of themselves. But let's go back to that typical week of a golfer and what you can do within that smaller period of time to improve your chances in a tournament.
I'm going to paraphrase a conversation with somebody that I had that made it, because he answered that exact same question that I asked to him. Tim Simpson was a former top 10 player on tour in the 90s, but I came across him just as he was prepping for the senior tour. And we were playing a practice round. And I said, basically, like, what was the thing for you that helped you to really break through? And he said, when I first got on tour, I did everything. I took that same kind of young guy, trying to make it mentality of doing everything that I could, playing all the pro-ams, playing the extra practice rounds, sneaking in an extra round to go prep for the US Open. And I filled my calendar so full that when I would make the cut and then I would play on Saturday, he said it was about Saturday or the 13th, 14th hole where things would start to dip. And by Sunday, I just didn't finish well. And I didn't finish well because I was so tired from all the things that I chose to do early in the week that I had nothing left in the tank for Sunday. So he said, I said to my agent, you need to clear my calendars completely on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I stopped playing the pro-ams and I stopped being available and I stopped doing the clinics, which of course people didn't like. He said, but I chose to prioritize my Saturday and Sunday. And that's when I broke through.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of being able to, this is one thing I did not do well at the time, which I did not have the emotional maturity for. And that was to prioritize myself, because my characteristic, my beliefs in life, my core beliefs is others focused. I care for others more than I care for myself. So to then say, no, this needs to be me, wasn't something that I was ready to say. When I need to, I can say that now, but back then I didn't.
So there it is. Emotional control on the course, longer periods of non-tournament practice, and just being more judicious about where you're spending your energy. And this must be extremely hard to do. It must be so tough when the stakes are so high and when you have to be in the top 10% to actually make money on these tours, and why the chances are so slim in making it.
Now, to give you an idea of the, let's call it 400 names that I would have recognized or played with or traveled with during my playing days, the ones that were at the same level where I was, only 3 made it. Only 3 made a career out of playing.
I want to sincerely thank David for opening up to us. I think that these tips are also relevant for a recreational golfer as well. And if that's you and you're interested in getting better at very specific parts of your game from the comfort of your own home, I would encourage you to check out coaching sessions that David's doing. It's results-based. He will fix your X, you name it, or you get your money back. So very different from taking a lesson from a typical pro. And also, as I mentioned, you can do it from anywhere. Here's how. Where can people find you?
Fortunately, I've made it as simple as I possibly can. Go to Big Swing Kings anywhere. Now, that's bigswingkings.com is the website where you see all the links to stuff. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok is all at Big Swing Kings. Surprisingly, nobody else took that name.
Thank you for watching the FLG Golf Podcast. Subscribe to keep learning from, laughing with, and being inspired by others who are on a journey and have found lives in golf. If you've got an idea for a show, or if you want to be a guest, hit me up. And don't forget, you can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. For a playlist of other full episodes, click right here. For a playlist of best of highlight reels from all our full episodes, click right here. Thanks again for watching, and fucking love golf.